So right now, I know a lot of people are drinking more than they intend to. Perhaps you found that the pandemic has made it harder to stick to your sober goals. Or perhaps you have these good intentions and then wine o'clock comes around and that urge to drink is just really strong. If you're struggling right now, you are certainly not alone. And today I want to talk about some tips that are going to help keep you on track and survive wine o'clock during lockdown. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you've probably downloaded at some point or another my wine o'clock survival guide, which I will put a link to somewhere near this video so you can get another copy if you need it. Today, I'm not going to talk about what's in this guide. I want to respect your time and I've got some other things to share with you. However, I just want to point out there are some key principles in this guide that will really help you. So definitely check that out if you haven't done so already. So let's talk about my 3 tips for navigating wine o'clock during lockdown. And the first one is to realise that how you feel at wine o'clock is always going to be a reflection of everything else that's happened during your day. Because a common mistake that I see people make is to treat wine o'clock time, you know, that period between 4 and 5 o'clock at night through to 8ish, they treat that in isolation as if it's just one problematic part of the day and they can't figure out why it's so hard. Whereas really, how you feel at wine o'clock, well, that has a lot to do with how you feel at 9 o'clock in the morning and what is happening to you throughout the morning and the afternoon. If you are flat out all day trying to get through a never-ending to-do list, juggling work and homeschooling, and you don't stop and take a break, you don't have lunch, you are just on the go all day, never really taking a moment to pause, well, you are going to feel that at the end of the day. And in fact, it kind of makes sense that you need something pretty drastic in order to climb back down from that place you've wound yourself up into. So that's my first tip, is to start realising that how you feel at wine o'clock isn't, a weakness or a problem or anything random. It's simply a reflection of everything that's happened in your day. So instead of struggling through wine o'clock and gritting your teeth and focusing on how you can muster up the willpower to just get through it, instead, I want you to focus on seeing those feelings as clues that something in your day isn't quite right and there is something that could be changed or adapted so that you feel better later in the day. My second tip is to look at the way you are talking to yourself during the day. What is your inner talk like? Because if you need to use a drug like alcohol to escape yourself, to shut down your mind and switch off from your own brain, then it's a sign that something about your mindset and your inner dialogue isn't quite right. Maybe you spend all day judging yourself on how you're doing everything, so by the end of the day, you just want to drown out that criticism. I think it's really important that we monitor the conversations we're having inside our own heads all day long. Our thoughts are a choice and we can choose thoughts that make us feel bad and ones that make us feel good. And if you finish the day feeling in a slightly better place, then it's going to be easier to make a positive choice around wine o'clock and choose not to drink. I think a lot of people feel burdened by all the things they feel they have to do right now. You know, I have to work from home. I have to homeschool my kids. If you are spending all day focused on the things you have to do, it's going to feel tiring and like hard work. And by the end of the day, you will probably want to switch off from those thoughts and all the things you have to do tomorrow. So why not see what happens when you drop the words have to from your inner talk? Because Those words, I have to do this, they're so disempowering. They don't feel very nice. And the truth is, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to homeschool your children. You could stick them in front of the TV all day if you wanted to. But I know you are choosing not to do that because you want the best for them. If you can work on your mindset during the day and give yourself an easier time of things, it means you're not going to be quite so likely to reach for alcohol at the end of the day just for some relief from your own mind. You know, you aren't going to need it so much. And if you do get cravings, you won't be so mentally worn out that you just can't say no. My third tip is to identify what you are really craving. Now, this is where the real work of sobriety is. And I am always saying to my students, what is it you really need? What is the unmet need lurking behind that craving for alcohol? Us drinkers tend to be in the habit of just dealing with every uncomfortable emotion in the same way. We just turn to alcohol and squash it down. We don't really think about how we're feeling or what's truly going on or what we might really need. And now more than ever, it is important to get clear on what's driving that feeling. Because the things that drove you to drink at wine o'clock before the pandemic may not be driving you to drink right now. I am thinking, for example, if you are living on your own and you are now spending a lot of time alone and you're working from home all day, well, by wine o'clock time comes around, what you might really be craving is connection. That might be the need lurking beneath that craving. Whereas on the flip side of that, if you are living with a big family at home and it's noisy and busy and chaotic all day, then by the time wine o'clock comes around for you, you might truly be craving some time to yourself and a bit of separation from everyone else. And it's really important to understand what it is you are truly needing, because then you can address that. Underneath every craving for alcohol, there is always an unmet need. And you can choose to smother that need with alcohol and maybe make yourself feel better, maybe not. Or you can choose to identify what's going on and then address it head on. So that's all I've got for you today. I'm Kate B, and in the comments below, I'd love to hear what your tips for navigating wine o'clock in lockdown are. Let me know what's working for you, and I'll speak to you next week.